Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we are going to be celebrating and talking about the IPL opening weekend. We've got wins for the Kolkata Knight Riders. We've got wins. Well, one win. Wins is the wrong word there, isn't it? I pluralised. We've got a win for the Kolkata Knight Riders, a win for the Delhi Capitals, and a win for the Punjab Kings, and a win for the Mumbai Indians, for the West Indies. You know what I mean. I'm Jack. I'm joined by two top boys. Max Rowe Brown, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, good, thank you. Just shaking off the effects of last night's festivities.
Yes.
I hosted my 30th birthday with both Jack and Ross in attendance in fine form. So just about back into normal humanity now.
And Ross Legg. Ross, the IPL has been good, hasn't it? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, much better than the Test match. So much better. It's something I've been longing for this. Like the opening weekend has not disappointed. I don't think. Plenty to talk about.
No, yeah. I mean, you can see what all the hype's about, can't you? When you get an opening weekend like that. I mean, Dhoni's back, for crying out loud. Who saw that coming? What a twist! What a twist to the IPL opening weekend. Dhoni, well, temporary orange cap holder. Before we do get into all of that, though, we'll probably do it in reverse order. What do you reckon, Jens? Punjab first? Yeah, we'll do it in reverse order.
Sounds like good.
Why don't you tell the listener? I've not pluralised that.
Your pluralisations today are all over the shop, aren't they?
That's the main one. That's the main one you want to pluralise if you want to make your show seem. Tell them the important stuff, Ross.
We are sponsored by Serious Cricket. Use code TCP22 for 10% off all equipment. Get yourself a new hat, get yourself a new helmet, get yourself a new bat, whatever, and get yourself to seriouscricket.co.uk and do that. Follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and then Patreon. We're set up on there. Go over, sign up. It's like $5 a month or whatever it is. You get access to the Discord channel, which has been ridiculous. I had to turn notifications off on my phone today.
Don't say that. I mean, like that.
No, but
you're supposed
to
be.
On it. No, that's what I mean.
You're supposed to be engaging.
You are Max. You are Max.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said there were so many messages. We're in the game, and so we have brilliant insight in there. So if you want to be involved, go on to Patreon and do that. And we've also got Fantasy IPL, which is. It's difficult to keep up with. Let's be honest. It's like a memory game.
Yeah,
so I can't.
It's a bit like that. I think we're in the top two, top three. Ross. Yeah, well, we are. I don't know what's your team name? Are you a Made of Bad Boys, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Patreon Fantasy League. Ross and I are top two. Swami He was like, it's pretty close at the top. He was 150 points ahead of us. But thank you. Yeah.
We're in shade.
Right, Max, you're gonna give a quick précis. 30 seconds. What happened? In the game that we just watched, Punjab Kings v RCB.
Yeah, just a key bit of information there. Well, Punjab Kings won the
What
toss.
happened on the Discord? That's what we're interested in.
I don't know. I was too busy watching the cricket. I don't know. Punjab Kings won the toss, elected to field, and Faf du Plessis obviously had been watching CSK the day before, and his card started with him stuck in reverse as he proceeded to score about 15 runs off the first 6-7 overs of the game. Very much not in the realms of T20 cricket, and there we were thinking, what an unshrewd acquisition that proved to be. But apparently, someone then got a message to him that he was supposed to score runs, and he duly obliged, as he and Virat Kohli and Dinesh Karthik at the end absolutely smoked the ball all over the place. The poor Punjab bowlers, Odean Smith and Liam Livingstone, Harpreet Brar, got some tap, let's face it, and it looked like a pretty imposing total. But we said before how excited we were to see what Punjab Kings would do. We didn't know if they'd be good, but we knew they'd be exciting, and boy, were they exciting. Cracking power play, a really strong start from Agarwal and Dhawan. Set the tone right. After they fell, Rajapaksa came in and cleared the ropes 4 times. Very impressive. And we were thinking that they were ahead of the rate for most of the game, and it was looking like being a very strong chase. But RCB took a couple of quick wickets, turned things around. In particular, for some reason, they had just got. I think was Raj Bauer just a bloke from the crowd that they got to come in because missing that leg stump full toss.
He's a child.
Was poor.
He's 19 years old, Max.
Well, there we go. Some of the 19-year-olds might do well.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was an inauspicious start for him. But yeah, at that point, the game looked wrapped up. But that was not to discount the arrival of Odean Smith, who scored 25 off 8 balls and absolutely smoked the ball over one particular boundary, which Mohammad Siraj obliged to give him the option to do, and that was that. 1 over to spare in the end.
Yeah,
what a win!
I thought it was a great win, wasn't it? And we saw Punjab Kings at full effect with a couple of men down as well. I mean, Rajapaksa probably isn't going to play if Bairstow's about. Odean Smith, is he going to play if you've got Rabada? Doubtful of that as well. And they in many ways they're sort of two heroes there. So well played. Yeah. And that's the magic of the IPL. That that Odean Smith can be fed T-balls, basically.
Your 2 unknown international stars can come in and smack the ball around.
I have to say, this was a really hard match to call. So I've been tweeting who I think is going to win each match and why. And I thought that RCB probably had the edge here. I think on our preview shows we had RCB. Ross, you thought they would win group stage, and now look at them. They're not even in the top half. Yeah, they're done.
We're
they're done. It's over. It's over for RCB. But it was a pretty tight game. I think they're 2 pretty evenly matched sides, and we saw here what we all came to see. Two big boy teams slugging it out. Sixes going left, right, and centre. Bowlers basically not in the game. I really enjoyed it, Ross. What did you think?
Yeah, I think there is definitely praise to be heaped onto Punjab Kings and the way in which they're kind of relentless boundary seeking from their whole lineup. But if you look at RCB's bowling plans, they were not good enough. They, as you say, they were feeding with all the strengths of the opposition batsmen, and then they were also lacking discipline. Siraj's first over bowled 10 wides in it. Ridiculous, absolute madness. Bowled 2, yeah. And I think they end up with 24 extras. That is
21 wides.
It was actually only 22 extras. Only 1.1 runs per over. That's heroically shit. It has to be. It has to be said like that.
They were trying to go to the wide Yorker. They just kept on. They just couldn't do it. I think
they got the Yorker bit right. Yeah, and they got the wide bit right. Missed out the legal delivery.
Yeah, and it must have been so frustrating for Faf du Plessis. Like, Faf du Plessis, yes, his innings is good, but actually, the start of his innings is something that cost him here. Him and Rawat at the start, not doing what they needed to do and have that positive intent, actually has cost him here. They were like 20, 30 runs short against this batting lineup.
I don't know if that's true. I think overall, I think 205 is more than enough runs to win.
Usually wins you a game of cricket.
I think in this situation as well, they had not obviously not won the match because they lost the match, but with 4 overs to go, they really should have been able to comfortably close it out. And I think if we're going to apportion blame, I get absolutely what you're saying, that 30 balls for 17 runs is not good enough. But he does end up with 88 or 57. So the next, 27 balls are quite good from Faf du Plessis.
But Rawat has got 21 off 20.
That is fantastic.
So there's 50 balls opening up the game that's cost them.
But I think
you're right.
I think Faf du Plessis, 71 off 27 balls is so good that realistically,
let him off.
Yeah, you can't expect anyone to be. I mean, he's got 88 at a strike rate of 154. Like that's.
Are you taking it? You're taking it. Yeah,
it's all right.
On another day, he is out for 30 balls for 17, and he's lost the game for his team. But he got away with it because he stayed in. So you have to give him the credit there.
I think the disaster is that. Oh man, I don't know. We haven't really got talking points for any of these games, have we? So we're just going to sort of talk around everything all over each other. There's no chronology. There's no plan. If you want to make a plan, send us a super chat, and then you will be the plan. But or like subscribe. I I think the failure from RCB here is that they've let Odean Smith score 25 off 8 balls. And he is. I've been saying we've been talking about this on the Discord and in the chat. He is a man who can hit a cricket ball really, really hard, but that is effectively it. There's not a lot of skill or technique behind that. He swings the bat as hard as he fucking can, and if you put it in the slot, he will hit it really, really far. And they sort of just fed it. Like I always in these situations when you put 205 on the board on a wicket that's obviously pretty decent, I always think back to what Chris Nash told us, and when he was talking about how you coach players in these circumstances, and what you do is you maybe go away slightly from trying to take a wicket, and you think more about trying to keep the ball out of the natural arc of a cricket bat swing, and RCB just did not do that in the last. Well, I was going to say last 4 overs, but it was actually only 3 overs, wasn't it? Because they didn't get to the last over.
It was mainly the 18th over, wasn't it? The Siraj over.
And you can do that. You can do that a few ways. You can bowl wide. You can bowl slower balls. You can bowl actual bouncers. You can bowl Yorkers. Basically, don't just hammer it in on what would be a good Test match length. It's unforgivable.
And wide.
It's unforgivable.
Quite wide outside off stump regularly as well.
It's unforgivable, and I think it's costing the game. Basically, that.
Siraj coming out.
Yeah,
he's coming out with figures of 4 overs, 2 for 59. But I don't understand here. Like, I get matchups, right? I get the matchup, but they didn't play to this. Hasaranga was bowling to Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa was smoking him. They then had Shahbaz Ahmed, who's only bowled 1 over of the game and gone for 6 runs, and actually not given another look in. Akash Deep, sorry. Again, lucky to get that wicket of Livingston, but it was expensive as well. 3 overs for 38. There's not a plan there. Mike Hesson and his big brain hasn't articulated to the bowlers what they need to do.
I was shocked at how bad they bowled. Like I think for a franchise in cricket's elite sporting competition, what the IPL is, the averageness of that bowling attack compared to what we thought it would be as well. We rated it pretty highly. We thought they'd be a bowling team. I was shocked at how clueless they were.
Yeah,
but it was funny, and let's be honest, really enjoyable to watch the whole thing fall to pieces. Even if it did mean my prediction was wrong.
How do you think Dan Weston? It's the Dan Weston derby, wasn't it?
I reckon Dan Weston hated the whole thing.
He really wanted to wear his RCB face mask at the end of the game.
I did a little chat with him earlier on, and he said the RCB mask has been banished to another realm. He's full Punjab Kings. I reckon he loved it. I mean, obviously, I haven't spoken to him after the game. Yeah, I think he's on holiday at the moment, but hopefully he managed to take the time out to watch the carnage and enjoy the fruits of his labour.
So he's probably sitting here watching this now, just sitting there, pina colada in hand, texting Odean Smith, being like,
"Nice one, mate."
Well, I reckon he'll have an upgrade from the pina coladas. He'll be on the good stuff.
He'll be sadistically sipping Royal Challengers Bangalore. Anyways, so is there any other talking points there? Jack, you said you were going to give me a bit of a hard time for picking Hasaranga as my fantasy team captain.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did talk about how Hasaranga is probably, from a bowling perspective, not quite elite level when it comes to leg spin, and I think he's got the figures that sort of show that he did have Shahrukh Khan in a little bit of trouble, but I think that probably says more about Shahrukh Khan than it does about Hasaranga. As good as the Bollywood star was for his 24 off 20 balls. One of the things I'd say for this match, and it has sort of Dan Weston's mitts all over it. I mean, I don't know how much input he doesn't really talk about this because of like the law and contracts and stuff. But it does look very much like a Dan Weston ideal batting performance here. Just counting up the sixes, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8, I think 13 sixes. My maths might be a little bit bad there. I'm doing it really quickly. Is that
more sixes than fours?
More sixes than fours. Yeah, that's basically the point I was getting to.
Yeah.
At a big old ground. like 85-meter boundaries at some of those places, and I know the pitch seemed to be pretty good, but yeah, worked out
Isn't
pretty
it
well.
nice not seeing something played on one of those UAE pitches?
I
where you're
fucking
just
love
like-
it. Yeah, it's. I swear, yeah, I can't.
Who says we don't want to see 210 plays 210 every week? Course we do.
Cannon fodder in the live chat saying, how does Siraj have the audacity to keep doing the Sui celebration when bowling 25 wides and over, 2.5 whatever, 25 wides and over, sorry, and get hit for 59? Yeah, doing the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration is bold when you get.
No, I mean that is an embarrassing performance. Like, make no mistake, it's good batting. Odean Smith smashed it really hard. Sharad Khan was pretty good. The openers were decent. Livingston had a really nice cameo, 19 off 10 balls. They've played like a good team here, Punjab. There's no hero. There's no KL Rahul. But what you've seen is every player go out with a game plan to absolutely twat it, and it's paid off. And it works really well. But really, I think you have to be honest and say Siraj has committed the cricketing equivalent of an own goal. Those figures. And the way he bowled.
Not good. I tell you what though, Shikhar Dhawan looks good in red and gold. That's what I took away from that.
Good
I was
kits.
thinking actually,
Good kits
I was
on the
thinking
show.
that earlier. Having followed for the last few years, it's quite odd seeing certain players in different colours, and for some it works and some it doesn't. I was thinking seeing Rahul Chahar in.
Don't like that.
Doesn't work, does it?
Bad.
Red and gold. No, it's wrong.
It looks
blue
like
boy.
fat in the face or something. It's not his colour. He needs to Delhi or Mumbai need to come in for him.
Well, welcome to the Cricket Fashion Podcast.
Anything else from this cricket match?
Peak RCB performance.
Yeah.
If you were to
you
stereotype
can
an
take
RCB
the captaincy
performance
away from Kohli, but you can't take Kohli out of the captaincy.
Yeah. Right. Which was next up? Mumbai versus
Well, we're
Delhi?
going in reverse chronological order. So it's Mumbai v Delhi. I thought Mumbai would win this. Delhi somehow ended up in a situation where Tim Seifert was 50% of their overseas players. But, Ross, that isn't what happened. Tell us more.
Yes. They came out the blocks, Mumbai, with a pretty intimidating opening pair of Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan. Ishan Kishan showed why Mumbai broke the bank to kind of go and get him. He finished up on 81 and carried his bat through the whole innings, facing just the 48 balls, which is a little bit strange. But Delhi just kept on plugging away. They kept on picking up important wickets at important times. And it was the return of Kuldeep Yadav, who no doubt we'll talk about in a second. It was one of those games which it just looked like the Mumbai Indians were going to absolutely steamroller through, and then they just managed to pull it back, did they? Every single time they kept on just pulling it back and managed to limit them to 177, which just didn't seem just quite enough. When it came to Delhi's batting, as you said there, Tim Seifert was opening up, and he looked unbelievable. He played 2 lofted straight drives, which were absolutely mint. But then Mandeep Singh embarrassed himself, getting out to the worst ball bowled in the last 2 days of cricket. Rishabh Pant got bounced out and tried to do this uppercut. And then it was all about, right, game's over here. Mumbai in the driving seat. Everyone's going home. Lalit Yadav was going about 2 miles an hour with the bat, and everyone was falling around him. And then Shardul Thakur came in, and the Lord changed the momentum. It completely changed the momentum. And he had 22 off 11, a swagger. He took down Jasprit Bumrah. Bumrah had a bad day, but that was Shardul
He's
Thakur.
rubbish now. People have said that to us on Twitter, Ross. He's not very good anymore.
You laughed at me when I said I put the Lord in my fancy team.
Oh, well, he's nailed it. And then Axar Patel, England's destroyer, came and destroyed the bowling here. It was fantastic with the bat, striking at over 220. And Delhi stormed home. Daniel Sams had a Mohammad Siraj performance, only 2 runs worse, but no wickets. So 4 overs for 57.
Dreadful.
So there we go. It was a strange day at the office because Bumrah didn't perform at all. The middle order of Mumbai Indians was non-existent, and it was a deserved victory for a heavily depleted Delhi Capitals.
Got to be honest, I think part of the problem here is that they played a player called Basil, and given that geezer for overs. It's just not.
No, it's good
It's
for
not. It's not a sports name, is it, Basil?
3 for 35.
Oh, look, he might be fine.
Apart from
I think
Ashwin, he was the pick of the bunch.
I just don't think you're sending a good signal when you play someone called Basil. I think you need Unadkat. That's a real sports name. is what I'm saying.
hitting it with the proper analysis today.
No, all right. Okay, so you want some proper analysis? Last night we were at the pub.
Yep.
Where we do our analysis, and we saw that Mumbai Indians were 5-6 on, which is, slightly better than evens. If you're making a bet to beat Delhi, who were playing, and as I said in the little prelude to this game, playing a team with Tim Seifert as 50% of the overseas contingent. They have done amazingly well, Delhi, I think here, or have been amazingly lucky. Have definitely ridden an amazing Axar Patel performance to pick up this win, and I think it's like a huge bonus for them. I think as well, it exposes a few of the flaws in what Mumbai Indians are up to. I still think Mumbai are pretty good. I didn't see anything from Mumbai Indians to be like, oh, well, they're definitely not going to win the league this year. I mean, Bumrah's gone round the park. That's going to happen once a season. It's pretty unfortunate.
I mean, he's gone for 20 more runs than he normally would. Basically.
Yeah. And that's the difference, isn't it? Like, if Bumrah bowls like Bumrah, then they win this game. They probably win this game 80% of the time. But that's the joy of sport. And I think we have to sort of revel in Axar Patel doing pretty well here and smoking it everywhere, and the Lord, who, if we've got a narrative thread in this podcast, it is the career of Lord Shardul Thakur, basically, at this point, isn't it? He is the fourth member of the podcast in many ways.
He's the guiding spirit.
It's just such a Lord performance to concede 47 with the ball, doing the thing you're paid to do, and then come in and score like 20 off 10 balls to redeem yourself and give your team a chance of victory. And also,
he also dropped a catch.
In that 47 as well, he twice. The first couple of overs he bowled, it was 5 good balls. Last ball of the over, absolute pie, hit out the stadium. It was like, you're so close to being good. Like, why don't you just do the things you're good at? I really enjoy it. I think this is probably my favourite of the 3 matches. I don't know about you.
It was interesting seeing what Mumbai were doing to actually make up for some of their players being out, right? So Sky was out, and they playing Anmolpreet Singh. Just didn't look at the races really, and then Daniel Sams here. We were kind of saying, is he going to be able to fill that last overseas spot and give them what they actually require? Some lower order hitting, which he did, hit 7 off 2 balls with big 6, but with the ball, a real liability up front. We went round. I think his last over went for 24 runs and pretty much lost in the game. Not a good day at the office, but I think we need to heap some praise on Kuldeep Yadav. I didn't think I'd ever be able to say those words again.
Oh, yeah.
We talked at length last year around the problem that he was having, that he was bowling too slowly and people would work him out, right? They would rock onto the back foot and just pulverise him. Shane Watson was being interviewed and saying, well, actually, the guy has got a point to prove because he's been a bit part player the last kind of couple of years in these franchises. Became a bit of a joke, I think is probably a bit harsh, but became a bit of a joke. And here, he's remodelled himself. He's bowling quicker. He's difficult to pick as well, bowling at that pace, and comes away with figures of 3 for 18, and has made some good players look pretty ordinary.
So, are we saying Kuldeep Yadav's back?
I think it's the theme of the show is people who are back.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't got to the main guy. England are back. I mean, that's the end of the show, isn't it? Yeah. England are back. Kuldeep, yeah, I was really impressed. I have to say. I mean,
if he continues that form, that's like an unexpected, like to put it in the football cliche, an unexpected new signing.
Like a new signing, yeah.
He
is literally.
It literally is a new signing.
Yeah.
But
it works on many levels.
Yeah.
His arc is on the upward curve, right? So I thought that was good. I thought that it was interesting how Delhi kind of approached it, but we need to talk about Tim Seifert because him playing at the top of the order, he looked brilliant. Genuinely, the shots that he played, I was just like, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? And then Murugan Ashford made him look like an idiot. Like
Murugan Ashford got really well. I mean, it was definitely a game for the leg spinners. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, doesn't it, when their combined figures are like 5 for 30 in a 170-a-side match or 180-a-side match. But he was good. Carry on, Ross.
Yeah, he was very good. Not Your Type has asked, what do we think about Tilak Verma? Jack, you were waxing lyrical about him in the preview show. What did you think of your first taster of him?
Well, I think it was very much a taster, wasn't it? You know, when you go to the gelato shop, you get your ice cream, and you get the little spoon, and they're like, yeah, do you want a bit of little mint chopped chip, salted caramel, dolce de leche? I reckon you're a dolce de leche, Max. Max. It was a little bit like that.
A pistachio, actually.
I've tried. Well, okay, little Tilak Farmer. Let's call him the pistachio of the Mumbai Indians lineup. You've tried a little bit.
Pistachio ice cream.
Now you're thinking, I want some more of that. A couple of scoops later on in the tournament. I think good signs so far. I was not.
I mean, it's a better start than Raj Bauer. Could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think by most people's measures, Tilak Varma is projected to be better. So it's not that much of a surprise that he was quite good, played pretty fluently. I didn't really understand why he didn't bat 3 above the guy who has like a smat average of 20 at 108. I thought that was not a very Mumbai Indians move to
I don't know why he's in the team.
Amalpreet Singh.
Yeah, no idea why he's in the 11. They might as well. They might as well have gone, oh, Tendulkar, you've not played in 15 years. Stick the fucking pads on.
Yeah, I did.
Guy Wardner would have done a job.
I did think it had echoes of what's Tendulkar's son's first name? Arjun. Yeah, it was a little bit Arjun Tendulkar. It was like, who do you know? Because this isn't right. And arguably, I mean, he hasn't lost in the game, has he? Let's not be too harsh here. But 8 off 9, when the team is 67 off 8 overs.
It's a negative contribution.
It puts
probably less negative than Daniel said.
It's a stick in the spokes. Tilak Varma, though, really good. The only thing I'd like to have seen, really, I think, him to have a little trundle, but I don't think the match circumstances or the pitch. Well, actually, he bowled spin, so maybe it would have worked. Maybe the match circumstances and the fact that he's 19 playing his first IPL match gave him the opportunity. I'm not sure he's a full all-rounder, but apparently he can bowl, and I think it would be... It's one thing that Mumbai Indians, if you look at their lineup, they are missing, is somebody in the top 6 that can reliably bowl to maybe balance their attack slightly. When they were really good, they could always get that out of Hardik, couldn't they?
Yeah.
And now
I think this is a fortunate win for Delhi. I think this doesn't normally.
Going to take it though, aren't you?
You are definitely going to. It's a bonus win. I think we said just off air. And I think when it comes to their bowling lineup, how reliant they're going to be on Nortje through this tournament here. It's a massive downgrade on there.
The final thing I'd say on Delhi is that we got a real good look at what some of their flaws are going to be as well. That seam attack is bad. Like it's properly bad.
That up against Punjab Kings, that's going to be dangerous.
Well, I mean, against Rohit and Ishan, they would like Ishan Kishan. They would. What is this? What are we playing against? It's only because Kuldeep. I mean, so if Kuldeep Yadav was Kuldeep Yadav from the last 2 years, this could have been 200. So it wasn't. He's done something. Anuj has joined up as a member on YouTube. So if you're in the chat there, say well done to him. Thank him for supporting us, and you can support us either on YouTube or on Patreon. Patreon.com/thecricketpod. Get involved there, and we have a sponsor which is on the screen if you're on YouTube, or if not, go and check out the show notes, seriouscricket.co.uk. Use the code TCP22 for 10% off. Get yourself some nice gear. Ross, final game of the IPL opening weekend was yesterday.
Yep.
Do you remember yesterday?
KKR. I do remember yesterday.
Yeah, Kolkata Knight Riders. We haven't seen any of the new teams yet, which is a shame. That would have been a good opening weekend if we had one of them in, but it wasn't. It was KKR v CSK. What happened? Old v old. It's the kind of geriatrics opening game, wasn't it? You have to get that one in early because I need a nap later in the day.
IPL Masters Series.
Yeah. So Dhoni obviously handing over his crown to Ravi Jadeja. Massive occasion for that to happen. But the bigger news was that Dhoni had got rid of his camouflage gloves and replaced them with some orange ones. So that was the big news for me. But unfortunately for CSK, there wasn't going to be a fairy tale start to this tournament. As they were 61 for 5 after 10.5 overs. And the game was gone. KKR had blitzed them, and they crawled to 131. We're very much big proponents of getting to kind of 120 or something like that from that position. Just isn't going to do you any favors. You're going to lose regardless, right? If you're all out for 88, you're all out for 120. Makes no real difference. 131 was never going to be imposing for the KKR batting lineup to chase down. And ultimately, KKR just strolled it, really, didn't they? Rahane looked good, which I mean, I like Rahane. Maybe he's not an elite T20 player, but he is just someone you want to do well, and he looked classy at the top of the order and fulfilled his anchor role perfectly. But the rest, it was just too easy for them, and you saw, other than Dwayne Bravo's new celebration, it was pretty underwhelming stuff from the reigning champs.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I've got no time for the celebration.
Well, there's one.
Yeah, I don't. He should have retired. I mean, it's
just like a creeper. He's just
I know. It's going to sound ridiculous now, isn't it? When he's like purple.
You said there's no point in having Basil Tampi there. He took FIFA. You've just had Dwayne Bravo take FIFA.
But there's reason. Basil is a stupid name, isn't it? Basil's it's a name of the caretaker at the town museum. That's who Basil is. It's not a guy in the IPL. I don't care how many wickets he's taken. It's stupid.
It's the name of a puppet fox.
Dwayne Bravo is an absolute legend in T20 cricket, in the IPL for West Indies. He has had one hell of a career, and he's got a century against Warner McGrath, and like what was it, like 400 T20 franchise wickets? He's had a mad career. I can't help but thinking that him still going and still doing weird celebrations it's like a tribute act. That's what it felt. It felt, and I'm going to be really harsh here. I think I'm going to maybe lose us some friends, but this whole game from Chennai Super Kings had big tribute act vibes, or you know when like a band,
not like a tribute. Yeah, it's a band from the 70s.
Well, not even like that. So you know Queen. I hate Queen.
Queen with Adam Lambert.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was watching this. I was like, oh, look, Dhoni scored no runs off 30 balls, and then he's got to 50 or 40, and everyone's going ballistic about his half head. He wasn't even a full helicopter shot. He can't even wheel out the full helicopter shot. He can't even hit the high notes. Just like it was a dink through mid-wicket, and people were like, yes, the legend is back. And it was, it was fun at the time. You got caught up in the moment, in the kind of memory. It was basically you were caught up in the nostalgia. That's the word, isn't it? The nostalgia of this team and some of these players. But really, some of the parts not particularly excellent, and KKR as well. I mean, I think both of these teams are bad. Cut a long story short. So from
one team was worse than the other.
I don't know. I mean, like, we probably should have started with nice things about Dhoni instead of slagging off his new gloves, which I thought were very fetching, and saying he was a Queen tribute act, which is
let's talk about the cricket, because I thought CSK's approach was a little bit confused, right? I think Jadeja almost ran two of his partners out. He did run one of them out in Ambati Rayudu.
What happened to his bat? Was he batting up with a children's bat or a Kashmir willow bat? He couldn't hit it.
And 26 of 28 balls. Yeah, it was not a Jadeja performance that we'd come to know, right? It was really bad. I think there was some good work from Sheldon Jackson with the gloves, which people absolutely loved, to dismiss Robin Uthappa. But again, KKR, I thought, actually had a plan. There was compared to what we've seen today at RCB. Their bowling plan actually made a bit of sense. I thought actually KKR were well put together. They didn't embarrass themselves at all, and they kept things tight, and that's what they needed to do. And they took the wickets that they obviously did at regular intervals, but CSK did themselves no favours. What is a Shivan Dubé? Like, just what
We've been
is it?
asking it for years. We've been asking it for
Like,
years.
the luckiest bloke in India to get the gig after gig is ludicrous. He's had what, one good innings, and even then the Royals didn't win. Here, it was just what are you trying to achieve? I thought it was nice for people to see Dhoni hit another 50. I think it was a nice occasion.
It was nice. It was fun. But again, it was if you went and
it
saw...
wasn't the world's quickest 50 though, was it?
Oh come on, man, he's old. Isn't he? Like, let's not
130. He was 6 off 15. It's as a CSK fan, it was a sobering experience. Has to be said.
Yeah, it is noticeable, Max. When CSK win, you wear the jersey on the and when they lose, you don't wear it. So
I'll wear it next time. I just didn't have it with me today.
So yeah, again, as storylines go, Dhoni hitting a 50 was good. I think judging CSK on this one performance isn't going to make much sense. They're going to hopefully do better than that.
I mean, they've got Moeen Ali to come back.
I hope that will help. I hope they lose 14 matches.
Moeen Ali was a massive miss, wasn't he? Like a huge miss. The overs that kind of he would be bowling, and actually just the aggression there didn't suit some of their players that they had. And again, 130, you're never going to break sweat. Do that. Sam Billing, KKR played 2 wicketkeepers.
Having nearly signed none.
We should mention the joke that everyone did, that KKR thought that Sheldon Jackson was an overseas player too, which is why they only played 3 overseas players.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not the worst joke ever. I don't know. I think it's going to be really critical here. Chennai Super Kings, they're probably a marginal team to make the playoffs anyway. They have to be beating teams like KKR to do that, and especially KKR if they're only going to play 3 overseas players. And they didn't, did they?
Yeah, what I did like about KKR is that Narayan and Chakravarti, we said that was going to be the linchpin, right? Of their
axis of evil.
Yeah, they were genuinely good.
Yeah, I got a lot of time for them. Do you want another thing that I thought was good, and I'm going to make a little bit of a... it's going to be on the bold end of the prediction spectrum. Umesh Yadav, new ball, was really, really good. Really good. Far better than I think people thought it would be. But there's quite a lot of data to suggest that power play Umesh Yadav is like a super good operator. Very dangerous, takes lots of wickets. I'm going to predict that if Umesh Yadav stays in this role where he bowls 3 overs in the power play, he will be in the top 3 for the purple cap. That's pretty big, I think.
That is big.
That's bold. That's big boy bold prediction. I think he's got 33 potential more power play overs. I think he takes at least 10 wickets in that spell. That gets him up to 12. He only has to blag a handful of wickets at the death, even though he's going to go around the park because he literally can't bowl at the death. But I think he's in the frame in that role.
I mean, you don't even necessarily have to bowl him 4 overs, do you? Just give him 3 up front.
Yeah, but for the purple cap, he will need to pick up some wickets somewhere else. But I think I think he'd be a decent shout. The other thing that was bad for both these teams. Go on, Ross.
Akash has just pointed out that the Jube is getting paid bags and living rent free in all of our heads, and I think that's true. I think that is completely true.
I wouldn't say he's living
we should
rent-free.
at least charge him some rent, the amount he's earning.
I wouldn't say living rent free. It's more like performing a circus act in my head. for my
daily
benefit.
basis.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not concerned by him. I'm not worried by him. Living rent free in someone's head is like, I don't know. There's probably a lot of England fans who Steve Smith is living rent free in their head. They're terrified of Steve Smith. That's not what's happening with Shivam Dubé. It's a comedy act.
Come out, Shivam. Come on. Yeah. Sorry, Jack. What was the other bad thing?
But death bowling from both sides. Awful, like irredeemably bad.
Trey Rush should not be bowling the final over, right? Him bowling 4 overs is just bad. He's not up to doing that.
I'm impressed that he did it though without breaking down. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean it is, I suppose, isn't it? The linebacker practice has been working.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering about this, and I wonder if it was like a situation where there's a bit of player power going on. Because some players, Chris Jordan, for example, I think talk up their skills around things like death bowling so much, sort of demand that they do this role to such an extent that it means that whoever they play for and under whatever circumstances, they just end up being given this job. Like if you were going to pick a player to do it, Andre Russell would not, by any recent measure, be the person that you would give the ball to do this. But he must be, in the background, barracking people to be given the ball here. I can't see why else. Why else? A, he'd be bowling 4 overs, and B, why he'd be bowling at that point. If you bowl 2 in the middle, might get away with it. You can bowl kind of quick, can't he? You could hit a back of a length sort of area and maybe bowl 2 overs for 17, or at the worst end, or 2 overs for 12 at the best end, and you'd be like, okay, that's fine. But not what he's doing, which is like match-losingly bad for a player who should be, nothing but wins basically. Strange.
It'd be interesting. They're obviously going to have to play Pat Cummins in that role, right? Cummins is going to have to be their death over bowler, and actually not brilliantly suited to bowling death overs.
He isn't very good either.
No.
I think it's. I was kind of pleased for KKR to win. I think there's something kind of charming about a few of their players. Like Chakravarti and Narayan are fun to watch, aren't they? Even Shreyas Iyer. I mean, we give him a bit of a hard time around these parts, but
he got rid of his anchor tag though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
striking at 105.
Rahane, he's another pretty marginal IPL pick, but you kind of like him. You've got to root for the guy.
But the thing is, he's good. He's technically brilliant. Like technically, Rahane is a good player, and actually, I think coming up against some of these bowling lineups, he will put them to the sword. I don't think a lot of the bowling lineups especially the opening couple of games where people are finding their feet. I think KKR having 3 games in the first week is a massive advantage for them.
Yeah.
We also shouldn't read too much into strike rates in this particular game.
No, I was being facetious on the show, so I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think KKR having 3 games this opening week, I think is actually a good thing for them. I think they're looking okay.
Right. Anything else on this match or the IPL opening weekend in general? Do you have anything you enjoyed? Anything you were sad about? Anything you were disappointed by? I didn't see too much car action. Maybe I just didn't notice it.
The Tata Punch.
That's not what it's called.
Talk
to us.
Yeah. It's a compact. It's a compact SUV for compact people. Is what Danny Morrison said.
Were they small people? What's that mean? It's a compact person.
And if you hit
Danny DeVito only.
So if you hit the car or you hit the box that it's on or the plinth that it's on, I think £5,000 or goes to the Black Rhino Foundation for the African black rhinos. So
okay.
Do you know the thing I hate about the IPL?
Preserving of wildlife?
No, that's got Kevin Peterson's hands all over it. Who I don't really hate. I actually think Kevin Peterson on commentary is sometimes fun. Someone who I hate though is Graham Swan. He's been doing my nutting.
You talk about goalkeeping all day today.
Someone asked me why I hate him so much. I don't think it's actually Graham Swan that I hate. I think it's people like Graham Swan that I know. Graham Swan's sort of quite a knowable individual. Like if that makes sense. Like I feel like I've met people like Graham Swan in my life, and I haven't liked any of them. Some of my least favourite people are Graham Swans. So there's my input on things I didn't like. Max, you have to say something now. We've done the car. We've done commentary.
Yeah, I didn't like CSK's performance very much. It was very.
We've already done that. It needs something else. It needs to be a general theme.
A general theme.
Yeah, it could be a positive or a negative.
I like people. It's sad that obviously there's only 25% capacity at the moment, but from the flip side of that, I like stewards having to clamber over tarpaulins to try and retrieve the ball from the stands. That was entertaining to watch. It was like they were sort of swimming in some sort of unpenetrable liquid.
I think to wrap up the IPL session, pitches much better makes for better cricket. which is good.
Yeah.
I think teams that had been depleted by quarantine and injuries is always going to happen on the opening kind of couple of games. So actually be patient. Your team's probably going to turn things around because it's a bloody long tournament. And I tell you what, I hope teams start to adopt Punjab Kings' approach of let's just fucking hit loads of sixes. So
That was good, yeah. A few things in the comment. The Truth pointing out that Dan Weston beat Crickviz, which will happen because he is better than them. LPN Tata Punch is a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder 85 brake horsepower crap.
Nope.
Aditya saying the IPL music. This is a thing that I wanted to raise actually. The IPL like loop music that they play over highlights and stuff. Big improvement for this season. Yeah, fan of that. Big fan of that. And crowds were good. I like it. I mean, the IPL in India, that's what we want, isn't it? It's supposed to be an Indian thing. The more Indian
it did look amazing. The place where Delhi were playing against Mumbai earlier, because that wasn't at the Wankhede, it was the other one of the others. It looked great. You had like the team sitting next to the dugout, beautiful sunshine, and I was just like, I wish I was there.
Right, do you want to do the all singing, all dancing crap of the land?
Oh, you mean England's successful tour to the West Indies? Yeah, we could do that. Max, have you got a bit of a summary for us? Because it didn't go to plan, did it, in Granada?
Well, it depends whose plan you're talking about, because obviously we were all very disappointed about two very boring wickets, and we wanted a results wicket. And boy, did we get a results wicket, as long as the ball was less than 50 overs old. It did all sorts up and down, a bit side to side, and that was far too much for England's top order, as some good West Indies bowling and some poor English batting meant that they were almost all out for 114. But as we saw Jack Leaton, Saki Mahmood put in some rather heroic performances to get England to a stage where we were hopeful. And the West Indies did sort of the same thing, except they would got to about parity by the time they decided to kick on, with Josh De Silva's 100, putting England 90 runs behind and pretty much out of the game. The only good thing to be said for England's second innings performance was that they avoid losing by an innings, because it was an absolute disaster. They were terrible. Carl Myers took 5 for without really even trying. It was absolutely abject, and back to good old England. And Red Ball Reset has
he took 5 for
absolutely nothing. Yeah, 5 for 18 off 17 overs.
I think it was 5 for 9 at one point.
And half of them, were people getting caught behind, leaving the ball. Dan Lawrence left a straight one. It was bizarre. It was all over the place, and West Indies knocked off the 20 runs they needed to do in 4.5 overs, because
they look like scared children. England bats. That's what they looked like today, like petrified children. So, well, what is it with England's ability to make, let's be honest, bang average players look incredible? Kyle Mayers is not a world beater, and we have made him look unbelievable here. We did it with Roston Chase when we last toured there. Josh De Silva, he's okay. He's an okay player. Is he hitting 100 kind of player from number 8 batting with his tail? No.
Well, 100 of 257 balls is a pretty good effort.
Yeah, but
I mean, like, if he's faced 257 balls, how many of 7, 9, 10, and 11 faced? It's
59 Alzari Joseph, 82 Kamar Roach, 59 Jaden Seals.
There's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so they've had 180 balls at 9, 10, and 11 there.
Yeah.
They're not very good.
It's been an absolute disaster. It's been an embarrassing 10-wicket defeat. But let's not take it away. West Indies played really well.
Like, they absolutely did a number on England, didn't they?
Yeah, they absolutely did. 2
flat ones, lull them into a false sense of security. Final match of the series, just when England think they're like they're back. They've done a Dhoni, risen from the dead. No, little green seamer and Kyle Mayers has 5 wickets. 8 for the match. Insane. It's insane that you've managed to. It's.
I don't know why we're surprised though. So
I'm not surprised.
England have now won 1 Test match in 17 tests.
Really, really, really.
If there was relegation possible in the World Test Championship, England would be. See you later.
Oh yeah, big time. What about Alex Lees though? A pair of 31s. He faced 97 balls in the first innings, 132 in the second. You know, in a situation where the ball was moving about a bit and it was a test of technique that every single other England batsman failed, he did all right, didn't he? Like, I suppose it's nothing different from what we have with Dom Sibley, but
I don't.
He's not been a disaster.
The problem is for England, that if you score that slowly,
and the rest of your team
it doesn't
gets out.
help, does it? Because unless Root is the guy at the other end, it's just a procession of people getting out, isn't it? It's all you're doing is losing slower. It's not. You're never going to get enough runs as a team to, even in like one innings, or in both innings, to force a draw. So all you're doing is making losing more boring than it otherwise may be.
Yeah, just play. Like, we're just not picking the better players. We're in disarray. We're in absolute disarray, and they've done. I think you've nailed it, Jack. They did an absolute number on England.
I can't believe that they played
Wokes.
They played Wokes and Overton for the whole series. They played Jack Leach in all 3 matches.
Yeah, I mean,
so keep the mood positive. I think
say,
he comes out okay.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be like, I don't know, England's 5th choice seam bowler now. He's probably gone up from 8th to 5th. That's good. Everyone else has gone down.
Matt Fisher in the second test looked like someone who bowled nicely and could do well if there were conditions in his favour. We got conditions in his favour, and we got Craig Overton.
Just there.
That's that step up, right? We talk about it, I think, on England's batting, and where we pick people who've got a first-class average of 30, expect them to get to 40, just doesn't happen. And with the bowling, again, Craig Overton just can't make that step up. He's good. He's very, very good in the county championship. Doesn't quite cut the mustard at the top level, and that's okay. Just go and be good in the county championship.
Supposedly he'd added a yard of pace, but he looked slower than ever.
Who?
Overton. I don't know if just his rhythm wasn't there. I mean, I don't think he had even by whatever standards he would set. I don't think he had a good tall person. Chris Wokes was all over the place. Mockery of leaving out Broad and Anderson.
Yeah, don't worry. Rob Key to the rescue.
Yes.
The man who literally sits on comms and goes, I used to hate cricket. I used to really like playing cards in the change room. That was the best part about my career. And he wants to be the managing director of EC.
Well, perhaps he can instigate a sort of card game rota for because there are a lot of rainy days in English cricket. So you need someone there to maybe keep the motivation up, keep morale high during those boring interludes. So he could perhaps put together a sort of rota of, poker, for the first hour or so, and then maybe play a bit of snap to lighten things up.
Some drinking games in there.
Yeah, ring of fire at the end of the day. It'd be good.
Yeah, why do you think you're suitable for this job, Mr. Key? Gets out a pack of cards, shuffles them.
I think he'd be fine. But I think of the candidates, he's probably going to be a better option than everyone else that I've heard mentioned.
I don't know who else is in the frame other than. So Tom Moody was suggested, and I just burst out laughing.
Well, yeah, better than Tom Moody. Definitely be better than Ed Smith. We've seen Ed Smith, and he wasn't very good at it. There's not really a lot right now to indicate that Andrew Strauss is going to make the Test team better. His main decision so far has been to get rid of the 2 bowlers. It's not. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's always interesting with England, isn't it, to see where they'll go. They've tried dropping 2 of their 3 best players. Maybe they'll bin Root. That will solve things. We should probably do an actual show on this test. Maybe we'll get Cameron in from the West Indies to talk about it. The other cricket that happened. Did you see the Women's World Cup last night, Max?
I saw that England have somehow managed to make the semi-finals.
Yeah. Do you see India v South Africa was a proper thriller. It went down to the last ball. And South Africa needed 3. Well, they needed 3 off 2 actually, and somebody did that classic kind of lower order bat thing of just skying or smacking it to someone on the boundary, and it's just on the floor.
What have you done?
Yeah, on the floor, and you have one of the 2 runs to definitely mean that you're not going to lose, but no, they won off the last ball, sent the West Indies through and India out. It was a pretty good game.
West Indies given a reprieve after their alarming defeat to Pakistan.
Yeah, worth digging out the highlights. That, which means I think that the semi-finals is it West Indies v Australia and England v South Africa, which is a couple of pretty decent games there. I think England might fancy South Africa on the second go, although South Africa have been pretty good. We will see. The hosts New Zealand also obviously out.
Okay, is that it, chaps?
I think so.
Max, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Max.
Many happy returns.
Thank you. Jack, happy birthday for a similar amount of time ago.
Aren't you supposed to do a speech? Do a little speech to play us out.
Would you want a particular topic or?
That's not how speeches work. That's a conversation that you're trying to do. We want a speech.
Right, you want a speech? Well, thank you all for tuning in once again to listen to us three idiots talk about cricket. We appreciate everything you do to support us, and it gives us an inflated sense of self-importance, and that is very important for us. So keep at it and have a lovely rest of your Sunday.
All I heard from that is that we're really important. So here's here.
I heard idiots. I heard idiots.
All true. Important idiots.
Wrap it up.